friends. I just wanted to quickly record this brief solo, and of course I borrowed the solo from the amazing Keith Wyatt, who was teaching that long time ago in his class. The reason I picked this solo, and apologies to Keith, I managed to butcher it because I just kind of learned it yesterday, is it really illustrates well many of the concepts we are facing when trying to master the electric guitar soloing. Now, it's also a good reason for us to look a little bit behind the scenes of what's going on in the music theory. And I myself, I don't know much about music theory, but I find it really helps me understand where I'm at and what I'm playing. So for starters, I just want to quickly say that I often tend to think about music similar to food. There are different flavors, and basically split into two categories: savory food and desserts. Now, in the classical and folk European tradition, which is where I come from, when it comes to cuisine, we rarely mix savory and desserts. And when I moved to North America and started discovering international cuisine a bit more, then I learned that there's a lot of dishes where actually you can mix the salty and sweet and create new, very interesting flavors, which I really like. Now, why am I saying this? Because in the traditional European music, be it folk or classical, there is two flavors that typically you'll find. One is the major flavor, and another one is the minor flavor. And typically, if you look at any of the famous composers and you look at their material, the symphonies they wrote or concertos, they will always say, is it in major or minor? And they would stick to it. And that's how we were brought up, listening to all these songs. Either it's a major song or a minor song. But then when we started moving into the 21st century music, and thanks to the blues and the amalgamation of African music with the more European marching bands and other kind of tonal music, we started to discover that blues tends to mix major and minor, or kind of amalgamate or flirt with it. And this is what I was trying to play here today, to show how we can have an ambiguous song structure where we don't know necessarily is it a major or a minor. So if we look at how the backing track goes, it goes like this. So what is this? Basically, we are playing the root note. This is the blues in A. Now this is the root A, and then we jump into octave. A again. This is the flat 7. Fifth, back to root. And same. Then we move to D. Then we move to E. What's the big deal? Well, for the song to be declared it's a major or minor song, it has to have or mention a major or minor interval. So in A, it's A, and the major interval will be C sharp. Right? Minor will be C. So minor, major. And in this backing track, we see that we are never playing either C or C sharp, which lends this song to this ambiguous tonality, where we're free to throw in major or minor flavor. So I was playing. So we go from root hit the minor third, and then bend, pushing towards major. So as Keith was explaining when we had, I was really lucky to have him teach us a little bit of blues on my channel. Blues is really a lot of teasing, a lot of tension and then release. And you can hear it here, right? So we're pushing all these things and flirting and playing around, and then it creates this really ambiguous but at the same time very attractive situation which we enjoy, and we find this kind of tension and teasing is something that draws us in, and real good blues masters know how to exploit that phenomenon well. So for this lesson, I'm thinking we should always keep in mind where are we in terms of tonality and what is the major or minor interval. If we know that, then we can be more secure or safe in what we are playing rather than playing some random notes. Now, of course, this brings another issue here, which is, do we even know where are these notes on the guitar fretboard? So that is a topic for another lesson. And I will just say that for people who are, hoping to get good at doing the guitar playing, it really, we don't have to learn music notation or theory, but really, I think at the minimum, we should try and understand where are these notes laid on the fretboard. So we should know this is A, this is E, and so on. So in the next lesson, I will maybe push a bit more further into how do we actually master that fretboard so that we know where we are at as we are playing. For now, maybe just if you can record yourself over and over, right, with these three different, like this is the one or the tonic, and then we move into the subdominant or 4. So from A is D, back to 1, and then jump all the way up to the 5, the 5th note, the 5th interval, which is called dominant. Subdominant, and feel free to mess it up a little bit, play a little bit dirty. Not everything has to be perfect. That's blues. It has to be, has grit, has to have grit, has to have some kind of a swagger, teasing a little bit. And go back and watch Keith Wyatt, one of the best instructors ever, and he perfectly explains all that. I just want to riff off later on where he stopped, because he has so much to teach. And I want to next time zero in more on explaining what is he doing there. We will analyze, although in his video he did mention intervals and all that, but I want to talk a little bit more about which notes fit where, which notes are what Miles Davis used to call butter notes, which is just like perfect, just completely resolves everything, and which notes are more into the teasing territory. Some of them are even edgy and sharp and create this kind of unpleasant, and these should usually be kept short. Just give a little push and come back to the safe territory. And as some people are mentioning, there are king notes, queen notes, princess notes, and other analogies. But we will be talking a little bit in terms of names of the notes, intervals, which is the distance between two notes, and then also degrees on the scale, to understand where is this propulsion coming from, because it could be pushing or pulling. As you could see, if we stay on one chord all the time, okay, this is interesting, this is vamp, but unless you're a really good musician, you'll run out of ideas and people will stop listening to you. So before we go to that level of playing, we should, I think, strive to master the simple tonal with 3 chords, the tonic, the subdominant, and dominant, or not the degree 1, 4, and 5, and back. Simple structure, but offers a lot of possibilities and opportunities. So next time, please, fool around with this a little bit. I'll explain what Keith was doing, and then go a bit deeper into the meaning of these notes. So until then, keep playing. Bye.